colleagues and my dear students. I believe that this is an online seminar, so there will be students, so I welcome the students and their interest for my work, which I am going to present in the next 30 to 40 minutes. All of you must have had good lunch, and I believe that after lunch you must be feeling a little bit dozy and also forceful that I am going to keep you engrossed in what I am going to talk. I thank our Chancellor Sir, Hawk Sahib, for putting such a warm afternoon for me and welcoming me here on behalf of USTM. I personally thank him and the management. Such a lovely university in a great place of Meghalaya. You are all lucky in this pandemic period to enjoy such a great, serene and peaceful climate. Let me tell you that. You all of you are privileged. So I'm going to take you to a journey of life at the molecular level and how life is affected at the genes. And I'm going to make the talk very simple, easy to understand and relate to. Or whatever I will talk to you, you may relate in your daily life, or you may perceive that they are actually happening in the daily course. Let me introduce my city. This is Bhubaneswar, India's first smart city. They were top 98 contenders to be the smart city in the Nitin Gadkari committee in 2014, and Bhubaneswar has been voted as the top contender of the smart city, and probably in 2025 Bhubaneswar will emerge as the finest smart city of this country. So I am happy to be associated with Bhubaneswar in the last decade. So coming back to your appreciation, and I like that life sciences faculties and sir, everybody is here, you will appreciate that slowly from the morphological anatomy to pathological diagnostics, we are going into molecular aspect, cellular aspect in DNA, and thanks to the pandemic or COVID-19, everybody now knows what's a PCR and RT-PCR and DNA and RNA. COVID has taught everybody in this world has importance of a single RNA molecule with a protein. It can create big havoc. You don't need missiles, you don't need nuclear power to terrorize the whole world. A simple RNA molecule with a protein coat can do that. Okay, so the nucleic acid or DNA has become a household name. It has crossed boundaries of knowledge. It has crossed boundaries of subject. Everybody loves DNA molecule and the fascination it brings along with it. Cracking the code of DNA has been one of the highest achievements of mankind in the last century, if I may say. And Francis Collins and Craig Venter, they set up an institute in US for decoding the human genome. Watson was the chairman, Watson the inventor of the structure, and cracking the code has become one of the giant leaps of humanity. When Bill Clinton was the president in the US, he declared now that we know how God wrote the book of life. Now, book of life is having only 4 letters. You have 26 letters in your English alphabet from A to Z, but we have only 4 molecules, A, T, G, and C, in which the entire living universe, including bacteria, plants, whales, elephants, dogs, everything is written with this code of 4 molecules. But we are surprised that after knowing the most complex biological evolutionary being called human beings, after decoding the human genome, we are far from knowing the whole code of life. So do we know how to read the book of life? Maybe we can know how to read the letters. We may not know the exact meaning or language, how these chapters are written. We only know there are 23 chromosomes, 23 pairs. We have 46 chromosomes in every nuclei except RBC in our cell. And I love playing with chromosomes. When I first saw chromosomes during my masters, I prepared chromosomes. I fell in love with chromosomes. And today, till today, I look at people's chromosomes and DNA and see how it is affecting their life. So we have 23 chromosomes, pairs, and 23 come from your mother, 23 come from your father, and you have a diploid cell, 1 cell. So if DNA is the software, who wrote the code? do we imagine this way? Critically think, who has written the software? Nature has written the software. Who has written the software of COVID virus? There are people telling that it has been manufactured, engineered in Wuhan laboratory, fine. But where did you get the DNA program? Where did you get the language from? How did you generate the vivacity of this virus? Okay, all of you, all of us, I, you, everybody, start your life, your journey as a single cell in your mother's womb, in your fallopian tube of your mother. The zygote is formed after the sperm and the egg fertilize, and one cell is formed. From that one cell, you have 2, you have 4, you have 16, and so on and so forth. After 38 weeks or 9 months, a miracle is born. That is the huge advancement from a single cell to possibly 15 trillion cells, okay, in a baby. And that is made within a span of only 9 months. This is the greatest miracle you can even think of. So, from DNA to being and then to human is a journey as fascinating as you can go to a space odyssey and come back. So, I call it molecular art. God has written this life only with 4 molecules, and this 3.4 billion of them in each nucleus, and you have trillions of cells, and that's how a human being is made. We call, when a child is born in any family, whether it's a Gujarati family or a Hindu family or a Muslim or a Christian, any family, anywhere in the world, the elderly, they first look at it, whether it is like the mother or like the father, the hair is like the mother or the eyes are like father. These are all called phenotypes. So you are physically assessing the baby. Now, there are characteristics in a family. Some are short, some are long or tall, some are wrinkled hairs. These are all phenotypes. And you are born with some symptoms. That is called symptomology. You go little deeper, you say why the person is little darker, why particular eye disorder, why this particular person doesn't have a full digestive process which is normal. This comes to the DNA or genotype. So we have a life which is exposed to sunlight, air pollution, water pollution. You have different viruses. Now you know what a virus can do. You have different temperature fluctuations. All these external factors are basically changing your balance of DNA. It is actually changing the way a DNA functions in the cell, and that is affected in the form of disorder or disease. Now, even your mind, if you have a bloated stomach, if you have a pain in your leg, you cannot peacefully stay in one place. Your mind is agitated. Similarly, if your cellular function, your harmony in your cell is affected, your mental well-being is also affected. So these are all interrelated in entire physiology. So we consider the damage to the genome as a fundamental disease which can be diagnosed and can be prevented. So I propagate that, as I was told in the introductory thing, that lifespan is an important thing. Everybody wants to live longer now. People have money, people have wealth, people have a lot of luxuries, so they can live for a longer period. But if you monitor a balanced genome health at the molecular level, at the DNA level, your lifespan can be converted into health span. It is not important how long you live for 80 years or 90 years or 100 years, but it is very important how well you live till the end of your life. That is very important. And that's where you have to monitor your genome health. So we kind of monitor the blueprint of life. We check the stability of the genome, and we also monitor how the genome breaks, how the DNA breaks and cause diseases. So a little philosophy that life is not happening, it is actually responding to you. If you think that I am just walking and floating in this universe, it is not that easy. You are actually going to an odyssey where your life is responding to you as per your behavior, as per your lifestyle, as per your work profile, as per your sleep patterns, as per your food patterns, all these. So life is a competition of genes and mind. How your mind is perceiving the world and the life, and if you are going after money, if you are going after fame, name, you are paying day in and day night, your body is paying the price. Always remember, a doctor who is treating people, who is doing surgeries, 8 surgeries, 10 surgeries, he forgets sometimes that he is also a fellow human being, he is not God. And he should think that his cell does not know that he is a doctor. A cell inside your body do not know whether what is your name, what is your affiliation, whether you are a chartered accountant, a doctor or an engineer. The cell doesn't know. The cell just knows that it is a human cell which has 3.4 billion pairs of DNA in the cell. So about 10 years back there was a declaration by the US President that precision medicine is like delivering the right treatment at the right time to the right person. And this is the future, and the DNA technology has actually married the medical science, and this is a new field called the molecular medicine or personalized medicine of 21st century. I'll just touch upon a few areas. So the technology evolution, we could study single genes as early as the early 90s or the late 90s. Then we could see gene panels, a group of genes, how it is functioning by late 2000. Then we could sequence the whole genome after the Human Genome Project was over. System of each genome called whole exome. And now today we can sequence the whole genome of a person from a cell in less than 48 hours. So this is the kind of giant leap we had in the last 15 years, and that has enabled us to actually go deeper into life in people's disease biology. So when I came back to India from my postdoctoral stint, I wanted to set up a platform which is DNA-based molecular diagnostic platform in India, and I was searching for a name to be given to the platform, and whatever names I was searching, I was seeing in the internet it is taken by somebody. And then I was talking to a few doctors that I have to look into DNA, I have to see people's DNA, and then I can tell you. So this conversations went on, and I found that everything I look in DNA. So, and it is an Indian company. So we actually gave the name InDNA, which is India's first indigenous DNA platform, and I named it as InDNA. So InDNA is a DNA clinic, and when we launched it, the press coverage, people found the concept of a DNA clinic very unique, and then it was covered like the first medical clinic to be established to look into people's DNA and clinically correlate it. It is not isolated disease diagnosis, but it is wholesome clinical correlation with the changes in your DNA, and lifetime, not once, not twice, but you can lifetime monitor your DNA. So InDNA was born, and what is InDNA? It's a first DNA clinic where we provide an integrated DNA-based platform for personalized medicine and molecular diagnostics. As there was a press coverage everywhere, so there's a paradigm shift what we think of symptom-based or intuition-based medicine of yesterday, where people guess what you may have disease, you may have that disease, and as the hair of doctor becomes grayer, he becomes more and more popular because his intuition, his experience and expertise become sharper. But today we have an evidence-based or pattern-based medicine. Maybe tomorrow all of you will have a genome card like this, and that will be like your ATM card, and you will be told that yes, this is my genome card, and please get me this kind of medicine because I am allergic or I don't respond to other kind of medicine. So from personalized to precision is the journey which we are all taking part, and people are responding differently. You have genotype, you have phenotype, we also have agiotype. Agiotype, people age differently. Fortunately, people in hilly areas, northeast areas, they live longer and healthier and better. Why? Because the environment, the climate, the food, everything is so pure, everything is so pristine, and they don't have so much of technical jargons, they don't deprive sleep, they sleep early, they wake up early, they go down to sleep, they go down to the sun and wake up with the sun. How many animals in the wildlife have you seen that they are obese? You will not find a single obese animal in the wild. Why? Because they don't eat too much as per their mind, they eat as per their instinct. But if you go to a zoo or go to a person's, the dog is fat or the zoo animals are fat. Why? Because they're fed where they don't require. So it is like mind eating, not the body is eating. So therefore natural instincts in people are becoming more and more artificial by our lifestyle. So I'll just give you a little glimpse of a concept where we call call it telomeres, the chromosomes. These are chromosomes of mine, my own chromosomes. And you can see the ends of the chromosomes here on the left side. There are structures called telomeres which are glowing, they are green color. These telomeres are ends of chromosomes. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres become shorter. And that's the quest for your aging. The more the cell divides, the more number of cell undergoes division, telomere becomes critically short, and at one point in time, the cell decides not to cycle anymore. They come out of cell cycle and they die. That's called programmed cell death or apoptosis. So older people, they have shorter telomeres. So telomere basis of aging has been established in the last decade. And telomeres, as I told, they protect the chromosomes, they protect the genome, and they are very important to preserve the genomic integrity. And most of our genes, our functional DNA, the functional part of your DNA, which are genes, they are subtelomeric. Their location is near the telomeres. If telomeres get affected, those genes get affected. So people with short telomeres have cancer, you will have solid tumors at the late stage of your life, 50s, 60s, 70s. You will have diabetes, cardiovascular disorder, obesity, all related to telomere dysfunction. So some of my research discoveries are associated with this, where chromosomes divide and they have telomere dysfunctions when the chromosomes segregate. They are also related to recurrent pregnancy losses and infertility now in men and women. It is not the women which is all the time infertile, even males are infertile. Let me tell you, in India it is a taboo that all the time women are blamed for fertility, but males have very high infertility rate today. Thanks to the lifestyle, the alcohol, the smoking, the oxidative stress, the pollution, the sperm telomere damage is very high. So this picture is a picture of a Hindu god Shiva on the Nature cover page. Nature is a very good journal, all of you know, it's one of the top journals. This picture attracted my attention when I was doing my master's degree in Bangalore, and I saw why Shiva is on the Nature's cover page. Then I read Julie Newdoll is a microbiologist from California. She paints science. So she has a website called Brush with Science. So she is a scientist, but she will paint the science part. So that time, telomere was a very hot topic, and she painted Shiva on the cover page. Why? Because Shiva is called the immortal, the god of immortality. In Himalaya you have Shiva, and Shiva doesn't die, is believed. So she painted. So this god gene, or genes and janma, there were a lot of articles. Why people go on living forever, or why people cannot die sometime, is it possible? These questions were asked. This lady called Carol, she was working with telomeres and telomerase. This enzyme actually, the telomeres become shorter, and there is an enzyme in our body which can make it longer. And if that enzyme is active, the telomeres do not become short. So cell do not get the information to die. The cell go on multiplying and multiplying. And that is very common if you see in a cancer cell. Only the cancer cells are immortal in our body, and some of the stem cells are immortal. So she, first of all, she doesn't have any background on cancer cells. She has no background on stem cells. She is a yeast biologist. She worked with yeast with Elizabeth Blackburn. But this discovery of telomerase in her lab in California, UCSF, got her Nobel Prize in 2009. Why? Because every cancer cell is telomerase positive, and it becomes a wonderful drug target. So you can target the telomerase in cancers and maybe stop the growth or retard the growth. So some of the papers, I am not going into details, they are my research work in telomeres and cancer, but we have shown that telomere dysregulation is associated with many cancers. One particular cancer I will tell you, which I am researching on, which is very common for Indian cancer, is oral cancer. Oral cancer is very high in different parts of India, including Odisha, because of the gudka habit. Oral cancer is different in Northeast because of pan and tamaku and that tamaku bitter leaf. The betel nuts, the raw betel nut is eaten here in Meghalaya also. Because of that, oral cancer is very high. So the cells inside your oral cavity is actually challenged all the time. And cells actually resist that challenge. They die, they are programmed to die, the telomeres tell them to die, they die. But then they reactivate a mechanism to not die, and that is where they become cancerous. So aging is the biggest carcinogen. The process of aging, that we are aging, our telomeres are becoming shorter, is actually pushing us to cancer. And cancer happens at aged individuals, particularly solid tumors. There is a host and genome war all the time in our body, and there are DNA damage and repair keeps on happening. And if your repair capacity is good, some people say that I have been smoking for donkey's years, 30 years. My grandfather used to smoke till his whole life. They never developed cancer. Why? Because their DNA repair capacity was excellent. Your DNA is damaged, it is repaired. Damaged, it is repaired. So, but today, the DNA repair capacity is diminished because of your lifestyle, because of other factors, which I don't want to go into. So if you have proper repair, you have a healthy cell. If you have no repair, the cell dies. But if you have a faulty repair or low repair, the cell becomes cancerous. And stress is the biggest factor. It is not about, stress is not here psychological stress. It may be endocrine stress, your hormonal disbalance. Today, you will see that girls are attaining puberty at a very less age, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. Previously, they used to attain puberty at 14, 13, 14, 15. The reason is endocrine disruption, the hormonal dysregulation. Why? Because they are sleeping late at night. They are eating midnight. They are having 3 a.m. friends. The chat friends are 3 a.m. friends. They are going on chatting with 3 a.m. friends. So this are actually disrupting their hormone, the salivary cortisol, the cortisol hormones which regulate their sleeps are being disrupted, and they are suffering from polycystic ovarian disease. PCOD has become so common. The uterine endometrium wall thinning has become so common. Why? All hormonal dysregulation. That is endocrine system disorder. You have nervous disorder because the brain is not getting at all rest. The brain is all the time active. If you're all the time chatting, responding to external stimuli, computer, internet, cell phone, class, friends, all the time. Sleeping is like a waste of time for this generation. They tell sleeping is, don't sleep because you half the life you're sleeping. Why? But if you don't sleep half the life, you will not live the rest of the life. That they're not understanding. Right? Immune system. Everybody has become now expert on immune system thanks to virus, COVID. So you will in the internet, everybody has their own immune profile. They come to me and ask, my immune system is very good. I am taking vitamin C. I am taking lemon. I am walking every day morning. I am doing yoga. So my immune system is very good. Everybody wants to have a good immune system today. But the virus is taking advantage of our thin, the Caucasians or the Westerners. Their structure, their physical features, their bone marrows are good till the late stage of our life. But the good part is our bone marrow is much better than them till 50s. But the moment we cross 50, 60, it crashes. Why? Because it has been overused, overexposed, over-activated. Therefore it crashes. So late death because of COVID is high in this country. Young deaths are not at all there, but there are a lot of young deaths in other parts. So my point here is we are responsible for this endocrine disruption, nervous disruption, immune system disruption, and they all together contribute to diseases like cardiovascular defects, sudden cardiac death, cancer, and things like that. So stress affects directly the cellular mechanism, the cell cycle, how the cell divides. And the cell divides, the cell has checkpoints, whether the cell is eligible to divide, whether the division is proper, and then the segregation mitosis. These all areas are affected by different types of stresses today. Coming back to cancer, cancer is not a single day phenomenon or single hour phenomenon or single month phenomenon. It happens in your body slowly. We have normal tissue, then they become hyperplasic tissue, then they become dysplasia, then slowly you develop cancer. It may take 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years. So it is a microevolutionary process happening in your body. You one day wake up with a pain in the breast or a lump in the leg or a weak fatigueness in your body, and you go to a doctor, the doctor gives you tests, you get a scan done, you get a biopsy done, and pathologist says you have grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 cancer. So it is not like you knew about it before. You suddenly, the world breaks on your head. What happens? Why me? You did not know. But today there is a technology that if you do your DNA test, if you regularly see your DNA, monitor it properly, like you do a master health check, you go to a doctor, get a master health check, your kidney function, lung function, retina function, all this you do. If you do your gene function test, then you can know very early whether you have this microevolutionary oncogenes getting activated, some of the tumor markers getting high. This is a tumor, post lunch I am showing a picture. This is a huge tumor which was operated from a Saudi guy, and this developed in this body in 5 years' time. Angelina Jolie, she took off her breasts because she was having mutation in BRCA gene, the breast cancer associated gene. But this was a very radical step, I would say, because a lot of people followed her and they went their vasectomy done. But this is not required. People, anybody, any woman has a lifetime risk of breast cancer 5 to 10%. Any woman. Now, on the top of it, if you have a BRCA mutation, you still have a higher chance of developing breast cancer. But if you monitor it at early stage, cancer is just a disorder. It is not going to affect or have a severity in yourself. So, this is a hugely complicated slide. This is happening all the time, 24 hours, every second in your cell. So, don't bother. So, there are people who are putting drugs and they are trying to deactivate each pathway and then maybe slowing down your disease, not curing it. So there are different ways of curing disease. P53, some of the life science people will know, biotechnology will know, P53 is called the guardian of genome. It controls the genome integrity, cell division, everything is controlled by P53, including DNA damage and repair. P53 is called a tumor suppressor gene. It actually takes care of your DNA repair. It also tells the cell to die. If P53 is deactivated, most of the solid tumors, P53 is deactivated. If that is happening, then your guardian of the genome is deactivated. It becomes disabled and you may have tumor. This man, David Lane, did not win a Nobel Prize, but he is a fantastic scientist. He has got knighthood, Sir David Lane. This is one of the biggest discoveries, I would say, in cancer biology. There are 50,000 labs in the world who works on P53. But P53 is not a targetable gene. You don't have a drug against P53 because if you suppress P53, then all other normal cells get disabled. So therefore, he did not win a Nobel Prize. But it is not that his work is so less. His work is as important as any Nobel laureates. I just wanted to show that people who do fundamental work are also very important in science. So cancer and death are synonymous. Fear is very big. You have it's like an iceberg effect. You have the psychological factors which is much bigger than the tumor on the top. So the doctors only take care of the tumor, the surgeons, the radiologists, the chemotherapists, they only take care of the tumor, but very few people, they forget that there is a huge psychological burden under it. So anti-cancer and pro-aging are double-edged swords. On the one hand, your telomeres are becoming shorter, you are becoming older, and you are taking anti-aging therapies to delay. So anti-cancer effects and pro-aging, there's a war all the time. You have to balance. So global burden of cancer is high. India is also on the list of the red zone of some of the cancers, as I mentioned, breast cancer, oral cancer, cervical cancer. And oral cancer is huge because of our habits. The young people should be motivated. The university should make it a smokeless, tobacco-less campus. It should. If anybody wants to have tobacco or smoking or anything, let them not study in this university. Let them prepare themselves to die early. Okay, so this is how your progression of disease happens in head and neck cancer. Now what happens today? Preliminarily, the patient's data information is very important. Today we have a huge information access. You can access the DNA information, the molecular information, the age information, the diet information, all this because computer database digitization is happening. If I just scan your mobile phone for the last 1 year with the software, I will know how many hours you were there on your phone, with whom did you talk, what kind of food you ordered in Swiggy and Zomato, what kind of sleep pattern you had, when did you go to sleep. All this can be accessible just to have a software access of your entire 1 year of mobile history. This is the technology we have. Similarly, you can do that with your DNA, the software history, and then how did you cope up in this one year. If you have that kind of preliminary data, then database of the genome information, nutritional analysis, and then you have the health analytics, the list of genes which are inactivated or dysfunctional in your body, then you have a classifier, then you are high risk or low risk individual. This is the practical approach of health informatics today, and it is going to be the science of tomorrow. It is already in the practice. So you must appreciate today that if you catch hold or you close your eyes and catch hold of 5 people this side and 5 people that side, 10 people, out of 10 people above 40 years of age, there will be some people will be obese, diabetic, and if you are diabetic and obese, definitely hypertensive, cardiovascular risk. So you will see there are two side arrows. The arrows are not one side, it has two sides. If you are diabetic, you will have hypertension. If you are obesity, you have hypertension, you have cardiovascular risk. This cycle is called stress cycle. This is part of my research in the last 10 years, that these lifestyle disorders are basically supporting each other. They are not isolated diseases, they are systemic diseases. If you start with one, you start the others. And you have junk eating, lack of exercise, smoking, alcohol abuse, sedentary lifestyle, reactive oxygen generation because you are overeating, and then that damages your DNA and genome stability. And environmental factors play a role. If you are in Shillong or if you are in Meghalaya here and if you are in Delhi, there will be a huge difference on your nutritional load every day, the air you are inhaling. So aging is an irreversible process, we can't do anything about it, but we can definitely do something about it. Is there any fountain of youth? The answer is no. People will have to die someday, but you can manage your age well, as I told you in the beginning. Look at this man, everybody knows him. So in 11 years of his time, how he has transformed himself into a great individual because of his workload mismanagement. He was traveling, not sleeping much, and working so hard for the country. This man is a world famous cardiologist. India is proud of him, Dr. Devi Shetty. He is a very good cardiac surgeon in Bangalore. Now you look at him, he almost looks same after 16 years. And you cannot match his pace. He runs so fast on the stairs, I sometimes catch breath if I walk with him. He is such an energetic man because he has balanced. It is not that he is doing less work, he is doing much more work than anybody else, but he has balanced himself. So I am just giving you some examples. So stress makes you predisposed to diseases, and you have psychological imbalances, and that causes psychoneuroimmunological disorders in your body, and your body has a poor coping route with the life. So it starts maybe with a mild headache, then you can have deadline pressures, you don't perform well in your work, and then it can go up to madness or psychiatric meltdown. You can crash. So therefore stress is a problem. It is there in everybody's life, in everybody's household, in every society, but you have to manage it well. And you can assess your genome today. I wanted to give you practical knowledge about it by assessing your genome health. And as I told you that there are 4 diseases, obesity, cardiovascular, hypertension and diabetes, which have networks, the genes talk to each other, and those networks are published by us. So this is called stressome network, which is for cardiovascular, obesity, hypertension axis. So this is where we see molecular aging. A person from the date of birth, you can only talk about chronological age. His age is 45 years. But biologically, he may be 50 years old, or he may be 55 years old, or he may be only 35 years old. Biologically, it is possible to control. People in this country only have done many years ago that they have lived beyond and healthy and energetic. So biological age can be controlled, diseases can be prevented if you manage your DNA well. So these are some of the genes which we look into as a battery of hundreds of genes. We look their function, we look how they cope with the environment, and then we can plan a person's life. We can have a genome health index of a person based on his age, stress and lifestyle. Even diets can be designed. Today we are having a designer clothing, designer marriage, destination marriage. Why can't you have your diet? Because always remember, we are sitting in an air-conditioned room, with a good diet and very good food available to us. Are we doing that much of hard work? No. We have evolved from farmer class to software class, blue collar job, air conditioned job. We are no more walking miles for catching a bus. We are not doing field work. We are not walking that much as we used to do, but we are eating so much. Why? Our body has done some crime that you are loading your liver and your kidney with so much of metabolic load. Has they done anything to you? No. But you are going on doing it. So what do you expect the body to do? To be very good? A lean thing? No. The body will show up symptoms. Definitely. This body has evolved over 50 million years, not 5,000 years or 1,000 years. 50 million years our DNA has taken time to become a human DNA. You cannot change in 200, 300 years. That light, the light invention by Thomas Alva Edison. Before that, you had sunlight, you had that Pradeep, so you will sleep at 7:38 and wake up at 4 a.m. Very good. But today, because of electricity, generator, UPS, you will not sleep at all. And because of the computer. So what the hormone will now understand? The DNA has changed, the environment has changed, the human being has changed. No, human being is same. Environment has, the lifestyle has changed. So we have to respond, we have to think and then make a genotype of our diet. What diet is good for us, what diet is not good for us. A sports person has a different diet. An office person has a different diet. A student has a different diet. Okay, a pregnant woman has a different diet. So there has to be different type of diet. And then milk. Let me tell you one good thing all of you should know. Human being is the only animal on earth who drinks other animals' milk. No other animal drink other animals' milk. One. Number two, the milking, the mammary gland, the genome of the mammary gland is programmed to be active only for a certain period, maybe 8 to 11 months. When the baby is born, first year your milk is there in the mother's breasts, breastfeeding. After that, milk itself is not there. Why? Why? Have you asked? The nature has programmed that the baby in the first 8 months, 9 months needs nutrition, immunity and maybe some fluid from the mother. So the milk is given. After that the baby doesn't need any milk. Any milk. But our ancestors have told milk, dahi, rasgulla, paneer, curd, these are not required for your body. We have no genes to digest them at all. So you have so many allergies, milk allergies, these are, and milk does not give you good calories. It is not a very nutritional product at all. If you check the nutrition of the food people here, please check. Milk is not that nutritious. In fact, it is harmful. And today's milk, the packet milk, the way it is processed, it is even toxic. It is not harmful, it is toxic. So please think about it. That's important. So our genes, behavior and life is all interlinked, they are integrated. So we should have a complete view rather than an isolated view. This is some of the history of my lab. We created an infrastructure in Bhubaneswar and I was supported by the government technology business incubator building where we set up this lab. Then I set up InDNA in India, then I started InDNA Global in London Bioscience Innovation Park. So there was a drastic, slowly the seed germinated to become a big dream. Dreams are always good to see with open eyes, not with closed eyes. And you should see dreams in the day, not in the night. Because night dreams don't get real, but day dreams become real. So I started my journey, set up the laboratory in 2014. Then the first 500 cases I did in 2015 and slowly in 2018 we shifted ourselves to this new building and we have now a full-fledged genetic laboratory, the only accredited one in Eastern India, and I do this work, I enjoy my work and we do all kinds of work with different sequencing machines. They are all high-end machines. I don't want to get into all these details because all of you will be bored with this technology, but there's all kinds of technology are possible in India, international class. We are not lesser than anybody else. We do all kinds of sequencing technology at a very low cost, affordable for people and clinically relevant for doctors. Doctors also become more confident by this knowledge to manage their patients well, be it cancer, be it infertility, be it diabetes, be it obesity. So these technologies are now there. They're not in the books only. They're not there only in the news. They're there in the practice. So we have a molecular diagnostic tree of all these technologies which are used for detecting, helping, and diagnosing disease. So we have unique panels which are used for getting diseases. We also get connected to laboratories, and we also have lifelong people who get genome assessed with us. We have diagnostics, contract research, training, and preventive and wellness camp. And we integrate all the technologies from genome to transcriptome to metabolome to microbiome. And this integration is the key today. It is not one technology which will help or two technologies. We integrate the technology to get the behavioral patterns of 21st century. We live in a very complex society. We don't live in the society of Mohenjo-daro, which is a very simple society. Today we are in complex societies, so we have to have entire assimilated, integrated. I just told you the iceberg of disease, iceberg model. We are only seeing the tip. We are only seeing a tumor, or we are seeing a knee pain, we are seeing a swelling. We are not seeing the root, we are not seeing the DNA, we are not seeing the cause. So the cause is very important. We have to look into, we have to go bottom of the pyramid and then become disease free. So that is our ancient model of healing. You are not treating, you are not curing, you are healing. So personalized and optimized parenting today, parents are having one child because of their busyness. The man and the woman both gets educated, and then they marry late, they have a single child, so their child has to be precious. So that child, we have a technology where we can look into embryos before it is implanted into the uterus, and that is called pre-implantation genetic diagnostics, and there we can help people. So personalized nutrition, personalized diet is important to us. There are a lot of unknown facts which we try to know through genome, and we want all of you to talk to yourself. There are very few people who think what you have done all day. They are all in rat race. Now there is a message coming, you have to respond. There is a mail coming, you have to send. There is a TV serial coming, you have to do. There is a food time, dinner time. All this responding. Nobody is talking to yourself. Nobody is contemplating. That contemplation culture has vanished. Why our ancient people used to think that meditation, contemplation, I was talking to Hoxha, this namaz is only talking to yourself. It will make you think what you are doing, what you are assessing, and that is important. That is important to talk to your DNA, and that's how you evolve as a human being. Because we are the only creature who has the capacity or intellect to think. All other creatures are instinctive; they only react. When they have hunger, they have a threat, or they want to procreate, they will react. But they cannot think, but only human beings. But that thinking is going away, you are only responding. People are making to think. If people are making to think from these people. I always consider them as masters, the Nobel laureates. We have the fortune of inviting almost 13 Nobel laureates so far in our city of Bhubaneswar from 2010 till now, or 10 years. So we have so many Nobel laureates who have graced us, stayed with us, visited us, helped us, and talked to us, guided us. And this knowledge dissemination, knowledge sharing, inspirational time has helped us to evolve our consciousness in the field of DNA, in the field of life, in the field of life sciences, and overall in the field of knowledge. So I'll just end my talk. I had the chance of collaborating with a man in Bangalore, Professor H.R. Nagendra. Dr. Nagendra is a mechanical engineer from Indian Institute of Science, and he went to NASA. There he was a consultant, and then he went to Harvard. But he left mechanical engineering. He was into making space rockets, but he left rocket engineering. He wanted to do human engineering. So he came back to India and set up a yoga university, which is famous, and a lot of people across religion, across world comes. And he is also Prime Minister's yoga guru. So I have collaborated with him, we have papers together where we have seen that meditation, as I told you, yoga, talking to your DNA, de-stresses, increase your repair system and actually helps in cancer therapy. And this was probably the first paper we published way back in 2006, and this has a lot of citations around the world and a lot of people work after this on this. So these are some of the best of the East and best of the West collaboration where we can integrate knowledge of our country, knowledge from Western country, integrate and then do wonders. So my international advisors, there are people from Gareth is there from UK, Gordon UK, Michael is from Australia, and Professor J. Prozen's lab in Baylor College of Medicine. I'm thankful to them, they advise me time and again. Then I have a team of doctors, scientists and operational team, and this is my whole team where we work day in, day night, and we enjoy our work. Working with pleasure is very important for success. Working with force is not at all recommended for any success. You will not get any success if you don't love your work. Love what you do what you love. Thank you.